Look, again, you have to listen to what he says. Europe has opened the floodgates to immigration that have allowed, I mean, low IQ people to come in. And then he conflates that or, relates that to the experience in Minnesota. And now we have the Somalis who apparently are higher IQ because they're better thieves than we thought they would be. But you understand the inherent racism that exists in what this man is saying. It's an us versus them. It's a white versus dark attitude. And basically he's saying that Europe is not as white as it needs to be. The United States is comprised of refugees from almost every nation in the world. But the heart and soul of America's history is derived from the immigration of Europeans to the United States, who brought their cultures, their values to the United States, and then adapted to the reality of the American Constitution. But we are a reflection of European values, and therefore we should always have close and personal relations with Europe because we're relatives, and relatives are allowed to disagree, but relatives should never fight. Even though we've gone over twice in the last century or so to fight Europe's wars. The whole purpose of the post-war order was to make sure that that didn't happen again. And that should be the goal and objective of the United States. I'm not against a united Europe, not at all. And I think the vision of a united Europe is a noble thing, and it's good for America because it promotes stability. Donald Trump doesn't stand for any of that. I mean, listen to the nonsense he was blathering on about Switzerland and tariffs and the arrogance. He didn't know. Was she a president? Was she a prime minister? I don't know, but it was a lady, and she was very aggressive to me. And she, and she said, please, Mr. President, don't do this. And I said, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And then she said, don't do it. And then I decided not to do it. And it was purely transactional, based upon the notion that Switzerland was stealing $41 billion from America in terms of a trade deficit that had to be balanced through tariffs. It was dollars. The only thing that mattered to Donald Trump was dollars. There was nothing in what he talked about in the relationship with Switzerland. While he did say, great country, great people, wonderful people, but you're only great because of me. You're only great because of America. Nothing else you stand for. Swiss democracy, Swiss neutrality, the history of Switzerland. None of that matters. Only me, the great Donald Trump, and the United States that I lead. We made you. We are you. You can't exist without us. That's his attitude towards all of Europe. And if you didn't pick that up as a European, I'm sorry, you might want to have to go back to university and take a couple classes in logic and reasoning. Focus exclusively on the ad-libs of Donald Trump, and that'll tell you exactly where his mind is. And it's all about promoting himself as the master of the world and having relationships that are to the exclusive benefit of the United States. How Europe fits into that is yet to be seen, but it's not as an equal partner or anything. Look, again, you have to listen to what he says. Europe has opened the floodgates to immigration that have allowed, low IQ people to come in. And then he conflates that or, relates that to the experience in Minnesota. And now we have the Somalis who apparently are higher IQ because they're better thieves than we thought they would be. But you understand the inherent racism that exists in what this man is saying. It's an us versus them. It's a white versus dark attitude. And basically he's saying that Europe is not as white as it needs to be, that Europe needs to purge itself of, the racial impurities that Europe has allowed to come in through immigration. And there are certain nations, and this was spelled out in the National Security Strategy document as well, where they said there are nations whose demographic changes are such that they would not qualify for NATO membership at the time that NATO was created. I don't think NATO ever had a racial purity test. So again, that just shows the inclination. But what he's basically saying is, when NATO was created and you thought of Germany, we all know what a German looks like: white. According to Hitler, they should be blonde and blue-eyed. Not all of them are. But the point is, we know what a German looks like. We know what Brits are supposed to look like: white. We know what Swedes are supposed to look like: white. French people are white. This is the racist truth of what Trump is saying. And today, when you go to Europe, you don't see, the homogeneous white population. You see something different. And this is disturbing to Donald Trump. And Europe needs to reflect on that. Don't believe the words written by the speechwriter. That's just pretty garbage thrown out there to confuse. Listen to the ad-libs of Donald Trump. That's where the truth lies. And the truth is very ugly.